for me, my faith has been kind of a guiding light on that journey about, stepping out of, I grew up with atheists. So I didn't even believe for a long time, but connecting with God and his understanding of how he sees me, not how the world sees me. So when you're grounded in faith and that is your foundation you've built in your relationship with God, you find the strength to become and be your true self, even when it goes against the grain. Because do you want to please a loving God or do you want to please the world? Hello, Thrivers. Welcome back to another episode of Couch Time with Amy Wine. I'm Amy, your host, and I am thrilled that you are joining me today. So whether you're listening while driving, during a workout, or just chilling on your couch, I want you to know that this is your time, a moment for you to step back, take a deep breath, and dive into a conversation that's real, it's raw, and relevant for your life right now. Today, we're going to talk about something I believe each one of us battles with, whether we admit it or not, the pressures of living up to expectations, but not just any expectations, but those that come from the outside, society, family, work, friends, you name it. It's like wearing a mask that doesn't quite fit, right? But here's the catch. What does it take to choose authenticity over just fitting in? We're going to dive into that topic today, my friends. And I want to wrestle this topic with you and help you with expectations and finding the courage just to be your true self. So get your favorite drink, get comfy, get to working, heel toe express, working out, whatever you're doing, let's dive in. I want to start by sharing a story that I remember a time in my life when I was juggling so many roles. I was wife, mom, professional counselor, business owner. I was also a business coach. I had an online business. I had a team of 40 plus. I was friend, daughter, sometimes doctor, nurse, accountant, plumber, all the things, right? You know the feeling. The list of the hats that I wear was endless. Now, on the outside looking in though, I look like I had it all together. But inside, oh my, it was struggle, struggle, struggle. Because I was trying to fit the image of what every person in my life thought I should fit. So whether that was my team, whether that was my clients, my kids, my spouse, my parents, my friends, I was doing what I thought I should be doing with them at different times. Right. I was just showing up who I thought they wanted me to be and not really who I authentically was. Now, I say that because I think there's always a little bit of measure of authenticity about me. However, at this time, it would only show up when I was being rebellious, right? When I wanted to rebel against something or someone or getting tired of being put in this box that didn't quite fit me. I mean, now when you know me, I'm not like this because I know authentically who I am. I will still say sometimes I have struggles with confidence and showing up in certain situations and feel like I got to shift to change them until I remind myself, like I have a saying, like, you don't want to put me in a box. It's like Dirty Dancing, put baby in a corner, right? You don't want to put me in a box, but I don't think there is a box. So I want to think like there is no box. So don't try to put me in one. I was recently consulting with a company in their operations, and then I was coaching and training their team in elite performance mindset. So what's the difference between a high performer and elite performer? There's one person on their team that all throughout the time kept trying to put me in a box. Like they wanted this detailed agenda down to the minute, all the things. And I was really probably driving them crazy because I was like 8 to 4, workshop 1, workshop 2, workshop 3, workshop 4, workshop 5, workshop 6. And I also had a workshop 7, 8, 9, 10 to throw in and throw one out if I needed to, based on how the other ones were going and what the team needed. Now, when we went in there, they settled down because they knew, like, I can run the clock. I know exactly how much time to spend where and when to pivot. But I didn't want to be put in a box because when you give an agenda for somebody, you're put in this box of what they think you're going to do. And when you try to change that, people don't like it because they're like, that's not what my agenda says. Anyway, I was driving them crazy with that. But in my professional world at this time before, I really was showing up. It wasn't that I was not being authentic with my team, but I didn't feel like I could show them the true me. I actually went to a event. It was a Tony Robbins event in business mastery. That was a wild, crazy time. There is a lot of dancing and moving and movement that goes on in that. And I had a video of me on, I don't know, somebody tagged me on it on social media, and I was just dancing away and having a great time. And my team told me that they didn't see that side of me, that they didn't know I had that in me. And it was at that moment that I was like, you know what? That's not okay that they aren't seeing fun, Amy. Amy that likes to dance around her kitchen or at a Tony Robbins event, that really loves music all the time. And I had this moment of clarity. And I had to ask myself, Amy, is this really you that's showing up for your team? Or is this what you think they want you to be? That was a game changer question for me. It started changing me back towards authenticity everywhere, but also finding out, who really am I without all the titles, all the roles? Because your identity gets tied up in all the roles that you play and the hats you play, right? We get a reward for some of that. Even if it's a negative reward, we get one. We've all been there, right? I want to dive into this a little bit more. But trying to fit the mold that society, your team, your family expects us to, here's what I've learned about it. When you're trying to meet external expectations, you're not really living your life. Ooh, that was hard to hear, right? I'm going to say it again. When you're trying to meet expectations of other people, you are not really living your life. You're living someone else's idea of it. If that hit hard like a gut punch, like it did me, take notice, right? Take notice of that. So let's talk about society's expectations first. Society has a blueprint for success, doesn't it? A good job, a good business, a certain lifestyle, looking a certain way. But who says that's the only way to have a successful life? I've met people who've left high paying jobs and closed businesses to pursue a passion for art or to start again in a smaller business. Their courage to step off this conventional path, that is nothing short of inspiring. And think about the people that left corporate to try to start a new business. I mean, that's a risk right there in and of itself. But they've completely pivoted into something different because they were living a life that wasn't them. And then there's family. Oh, lovely family. We love them, but sometimes they have their own ideas of what our lives should look like, right? I remember a client of mine, let's call her Sarah. Sarah was a brilliant lawyer, but her heart was in teaching. When she finally decided to switch careers, her family was not thrilled, to say the least. They worried about her financial security, her status, what will she do, all the schooling that she had. Why did you waste your life and your time? Like, they really put her down. But she found a new kind of joy in teaching kids that something about being a lawyer never gave her. Kudos to her for knowing that joy and passion in her life meant more than the paycheck. That's not easy to do. Now, let's not forget the workplace. The pressure to conform in a professional setting is real. We put on personas thinking what makes us a good employee or a good leader, a successful entrepreneur, but at what cost? Losing sight of our true selves? How do we navigate all this? How do we find the courage to live authentically? Well, first and foremost, it starts with a bit of soul searching. You got to do the work. It's about asking yourself some tough questions like, what are my true core values? We don't usually ask that. We set them up for our businesses, but we don't ask ourselves, what am I passionate about? What are my hobbies? What brings me joy? That's a question I couldn't even answer at one point in my life. And am I making choices based on what I want or what others expect of me? And this is not a one time thing, it is a continuous process. For me, my faith has been kind of a guiding light on that journey about, stepping out of, I grew up with atheists. So I didn't even believe for a long time, but connecting with God and his understanding of how he sees me, not how the world sees me. So when you're grounded in faith, and that is your foundation you've built in your relationship with God, you find the strength to become and be your true self, even when it goes against the grain. Because do you want to please a loving God or do you want to please the world? I want to share a practical step that's worked for me and many others that I've coached. It's what I call the alignment check. Alignment check. Every now and then, I want you to take a step back and look at your life. Are the choices you're making in alignment with your core values, your beliefs, and your passions? If not, what needs to change? You don't have to change everything at once. Just start changing things slowly and small. That builds momentum. And remember, it's okay to say no to things that don't align with who you truly are. It's okay to set the boundaries and it's okay to be different, to have different dreams and aspirations than what others expect of you. Before we wrap it up today, I want you to do something for me. Think of one area in your life where you feel the pressure to conform. You got it? Now ask yourself this: is this really me? Is this what I truly want? If the answer is no, then maybe it's time for a change. Maybe it's time to take a step towards authenticity. And remember, you're not alone in this. We are all on this journey together. Let's keep this conversation going. I'd love to hear your stories, your experiences, and finding your authentic self. You could share them with me on social media at Amy Wine CO, email amy@amywine.com. And if you want to join me and really step in with this and have your hand held and coached directly by me, I want you to go to awakenmejourney.com and put your name on the wait list because we're going to do a 8 weeks together and have a journey to finding you. Where I'm going to walk you step by step so that you no longer have to think about who you are in this season of your life. Because let's face it, as we grow and we change and we enter parenthood and jobs and empty nesting and all these things, like every season has a different version of us. And we got to step out and find it. So that's it for today. But I also hope that this was life changing for you today and that it sparked something in you, a desire to live authentically, courageously, and true to who you are. I want you to join me next time on the couch for real talk, real stories. And until then, keep thriving, keep exploring, and remember, you are more than enough just as you are. I believe in you. You've got this.